Okay, this is the second take of the stream because I was having audio difficulties. So we're just going to get right into it, starting with the monthly time frame. The monthly levels are known already. They should be known if you haven't watched like my last 10 streams, but it's okay. So here are your monthly levels that you got to watch. They're in purple. As of right now, we tested 102.3. Gave a deeper test into some type of support, right? And expectation on the monthly time frame is that if this 102 level does not close above, you could be pushing down to 96, even to 82,000 weekly. So on the weekly time frame, these levels here, were tested, right? So we knew that we were going to get a new low. We knew we were going to get a new low below that wick right down there, right? So as of right now, with this current weekly candle, what do we need to see price to do, right? What needs to happen right now on the weekly time frame, right? So here's one weekly level, and here's the other weekly level, which coincides with that monthly level. I'll delete that monthly level right now because we have around like 25 days left in the month. We're still very early, and we have 3 days approximately with this current weekly candle. So what has happened within these prior weeks was these were your highs, right? And then you made a new high above here. And if this current weekly candle closes below this level or closes below this level, you could expect this to act as resistance here or act as resistance at 102. It's either one of these two. Depends where it closes below first. If it closes below 102, it's more likely that 102 will act as resistance and reject than 104. But those would be very strong levels of resistance right here. So what you could do, honestly, for these levels, you'll draw a little rectangle right here, from here to here. That's like nice weekly resistance if we were to close. So we have time within the week. Where's your other weekly levels of support? It's going to be 98. The bottom range here is tested, right? You guys know why this is tested. I'll mark it out real quickly. It's tested because it already bounced from this level here. They already used the juice here. That makes sense? So it already used the juice here. So now you got to ask yourself, where does it need to bounce from it if Bitcoin were to go higher, right? So I was basically talking about in my first take that, for instance, this was good. This was your high on Bitcoin. This was your low, and this is your higher high, right? And the question is, where is that higher low going to be? Well, when you're looking for a higher low, you want to be looking for somewhere where the level is not tested, right? And you're looking on the higher time frame. You're looking at a monthly or weekly level, because when you're looking at the monthly or weekly level, that's where trend would be, right? And we do have two untested levels here at 97 and 96, which is a monthly and weekly level. So you could even draw or put another box right here. We know the bottom range, these areas right here, we know the bottom range here and here is not going to hold. So if you really want to see a likely of a new high above this one, I would like to see price bounce here, right? Then you get that continuation. And you would want to see the weekly bounce here and especially close above this level as well too. Does that make sense? That's like the most important thing right now, looking for the weekly, is price to really hold above 104.5. You don't want to see any closes above there. If it grabs the liquidity down there and closes bullish, that would be like closes green. That'd be a very good sign. So as I was saying, this is your high, low, high. Where's that lower high going to be? So we're gonna sort of dissect the trends here, because if you didn't know, there's trends within trends. So like for instance, you have a monthly trend. I'm just gonna draw this out. So you have a monthly trend, and let's say this monthly trend is yellow, and then within this monthly trend, let's say it's going up. This is an uptrend. Then you can also have, let me change the color real quickly. Then you can also have, within that monthly trend, you can have like a weekly downtrend, for instance. So maybe within that monthly level, trends can be going down like this within that trend. Let's just say that's a weekly level. I know the drawing is not ideal, and let's say that weekly is a weekly downtrend, and maybe within this weekly candle, I'll draw another one. There's a daily uptrend. So there's trends within trends when you're looking at the chart. Because if you look at the bigger picture, there was probably a point in time, maybe within, just hypothetically, there was probably maybe a downtrend somewhere within that month and within that one candle. There was probably an uptrend on the 4 hour or the minute. And that's how you sort of base your story of how you could play a 4 hour level or 1 hour level. Because I know Bruce have asked me, how do you play these levels on the 4 hour and 1 hour? You have to understand within a higher time frame, within a candle, there's another trend, and you're breaking down and dissecting it to make yourself a story of what is very likely going to happen. If you don't understand, if you don't break it down, and you're only focusing on the smaller time frame, for instance, you're gonna miss the bigger picture, and you're gonna not understand, oh, why didn't this level respect? Because you didn't look at the bigger picture. Okay, so going back to it. So we're going to that weekly, right? High, low, high. Would that be your potential low there, right? So now we can look at the daily to sort of understand what is that daily trend that we're sort of looking for as of right now, right? So this is what I was drawing out right now. So what is our daily trend? Okay, cool. It's a different color. So this is basically going to be our daily trend. So you had a high, you had a low, right? Then you had a lower high, lower low. Then you had a higher high above, higher than that. Then you had a higher low. You see it's trending, right? Then you had a new high, low. Here, I'm just marking the trend so you guys see it. So within this, let's say this trend right here, there was a lot of activity going on. Now, this is what I look for. This is the most important thing you have to understand right here. So this was your low, right? You had the high and then you had the low. What did price do? What did price do? It made a new low, right? That made a new low relative to here. So that's your low, for instance. I'll clean it up. I'm going to clean up some of these lines so it makes it more cleaner. That's your low. That's your high, right? And then we'll just clean it up. So you made a new low. So what is expectation? You have trends here going up, down, high, low, lower high, low, lower high, low, right? You made a new low. So you can expect a possible rejection here because we made a new low. And then you can zoom out again. Well, how do you find exactly what that new low could possibly be? Well, we still have time within the daily candle, so there is resistance here. Let's look at the weekly. Well, you have a new weekly level formed right here. $108.9, right? So you have trends within trends, right? So what if this is like another intermediate trend? I'm going to change the color to blue. Actually, blue is a little too much because I have a lot of blue in my chart. Let's do green. Stronger green. So you have a trend here. You have a trend here. This is your new trend here. Is this going to be the bigger trend here, which brings you out and then takes you down? Could that be a possibility? This definitely could be a possibility. Because if you do bounce here, this would be a potential for what? A higher time frame trend. Maybe this would be your next yellow trend. I'm not good with these lines, but I want you to see. You could sort of say, hey, maybe this green trend is going to come back down to this yellow trend, and you make a new high, right? Because you made a high, low, higher low, higher high, right? That could be a possibility, but it's not always the case. The thing is, there's so many different scenarios you could look for, but it's just being aware of what that scenario could so for be, right? Because for what all I know, what if this green trend continues lower? Maybe it doesn't make a new trend above a new high above that red one, and it rejects around here, for instance, right? But this is when you start to use tested and untested levels to sort of get a gauge and understanding of what price is doing, right? So we know here this is tested, right? We know this is tested here at 104.5K, right? So if price doesn't reject this box and we start getting about close to 104.6, 100.8, it's less likely that we are going to reject here. You want to look for something that's untested. So you're going to want to mark your untested levels. Yeah, you could use the Bruce is asking, but this move up will test the loss on the right. You mean on the left too? Well, yeah, well. So that's when you're going to start to look for what is tested and what is untested. So you're going to look left, right? Left. So price right now is at 102.7. I already identify levels on the daily. For instance, I think I should maybe use another chart for this. Clean chart. So we're just going to look at the daily view right now. I'm just going to look at the daily of where is possible rejection on the daily time frame for maybe the daily trend to continue lower. So as I was saying, this level here was tested, right? You have this swing here. This swing here as well. No, that's tested. Yeah. So you basically have a couple daily levels here that it needs to reject from if we were going to push and make new lows. It's valid to reject here if you're playing the trend here, right? If this is going to be a lower high, you're going to play the daily levels here. If it doesn't reject here and this starts to hold as support, you start to consolidate above here, or even this. Let's say this daily candle here that we have 18 hours left into closes above any of these lines, right? If it closes above any of these daily level lines right here, let's say if it closes above here, comes down and closes and retests, then you could push up. And you know this area here is tested. So you're gonna look left. Okay, you have a daily level here. If the daily closes above these lines, because then you have a reason. Yes, if you close it up, then you have a reason to say, okay, they closed below. The shorts here didn't work because it closed back above. Now I can look for a reason to get long. Yeah, you can exactly. You can now use this once it closes above. So right now it closed below. Right now this candle closed below. Now you have a reason to short here, right? But let's say if this daily closes above these lines, then you have a reason to long there, and your invalidation would be here. And then you still have a, even if it closes above, and it's fine. It doesn't mean you're gonna be right all the time. It doesn't mean I don't know what it's gonna do. I really don't know what it's do, but you know it's more likely for price to push to the next daily level. And then you can like, okay, it closed above. I can get long. I can catch maybe like a 3% move. And then I can probably take a short here at 107.3 at that point. You even have a daily level here. And you have a daily level here. I'm so bad with this. I need to get another one of those third-party pen tools so I don't have to keep clicking. Right? And then going back to that weekly, you know? So on the weekly, I would like to see your price probably get to 109. That's like your most highest probability short is 109, to be honest. Because that's where the liquidity is. Just wait for the daily closes. Yes, you closed above. Now you have a valid reason to short. It's always better to short higher, of course. It's not how you feel, it's just how you react. Yeah, I could feel like shorting here. But like you know that if price keeps pumping, if it keeps going up, you know price can at least go all the way to 107, and that's a 3% move right there from here, right? 4.5%. Same as daily. Okay, so you want to use the 4-hour. Okay, so let's do this then. We'll remove the drawings. Okay, let's just mark the daily levels. But the thing is, Bruce, what I want to understand, like, I don't go lower than the daily. There's no need to. You can scalp intraday. You can catch those moves that you're looking for on the 4-hour. You can get a lot of, or the daily, I mean. You can get a lot of action on a daily time frame by just like looking at the daily time frame. You don't need to go lower than that. I swear to God, you do not. Your accuracy is going to go down tremendously. You will be like, it's the biggest misconception ever is thinking that if you go on the smaller time frame, you're gonna get more moves, you're gonna make more money, you're gonna trade more. When you're playing the daily time frame, it's the highest probability that you can get intraday, in my opinion. There's no reason to go smaller than that. There's no reason, but you could go. I could go on the 1 minute and do the same concepts, but your strike rate and everything is going to be a lot less likely because you're going to be blindsided from the higher time frame, right? I learned this the hard way. That's why I preach. I'm like, I usually only use monthly, weekly, daily in 4 hour. I should take out the 15-minute and 1 hour from my options, to be honest. Like, it shouldn't be there. Okay, so daily. So what do we know for the daily? This is our daily level. This is a daily level. Tested, tested, untested, tested, untested. Let's start your daily swing. They tested that. Untested. Am I a bull or bear here? Well, I'm trying to just take the best trade. As of right now, I wouldn't be looking to long here. I wouldn't be looking to long at exact price for new all-time highs. I had mentioned earlier that monthly, weekly level is what I'm looking for, right around there at 96, 98. Then that's a good time to get bullish again. It's still bullish, but like I'm short-term bearish. I would like to see what happens at 96, 98. Okay, so those are your daily levels, right? Here are your daily levels that you need to watch out for. Okay, now we're gonna push it to the 4 hour. Okay. So you're gonna look left here. So the gain. Okay. Whoops. Okay. You always look all the way to the right whenever you're marking your first level on any type of swing. I mean, not all the way to the right, all the way to the left. Okay. They closed above it on the 4 hour. This candle gave a retest. If price starts to fail below 102, you have a 4 hour here and you have a 4 hour here. Right? So this level here must bounce. But you also have to look left. It's actually at 4 hour resistance right here. So if price doesn't get above 102, here, let me mark some more 4 hour levels because there's a lot of things you need to mark. Swing down. Look all the way left within that trend. Coincides with here. Okay. Here's the logic in regards to this. If you're going to push up within this 4 hour and daily, right? You're going to push up. If price rejects here and you come back down to 102.4, this is less likely to hold, right? So then you're going to probably come back down here, right? Because why? This is your low, high, potentially. You want to see a higher low relative to here. So once that liquidity is out of the way, right? Once the liquidity is out of the way here, and you do hold the higher low here, then expectation is that you're going to probably push new highs and you have these 4 hour levels here. You're going to play a lot of 4 hour levels before you maybe even get to that daily level at 104. There could be a lot of chop, for instance. So that would be the expectation because you're already using the liquidity here. So let's see what happens. They're very close to testing this. So this is actually a valid spot to reject that. But then again, it's not a great short. You're shorting for what? You're going to have to push it down to the 1 hour, to be honest. Your stop would have to be here. And like this is like you're forcing trades for that would be your trade setup, to be honest. And it's not a good trade setup. I give this like a a C minus. Because you're playing a lower time frame. But yeah, let's see what happens. That would be the trade setup. So if this rejects here, it's going back down to here because they already cleared the liquidity here. Right? And if this fails here, if you do not hold 101.7 to 101.5, you're probably going to make a new low. Why? So this is your move down, right? And this candle's the final leg. So you have to actually, let me see. I have to really break it down to see what the trend is here. 1 second. Price needs to get above here. So, okay, so here's your trend. This is your trend right now on the 1 hour. So if you want to see any bullishness above this level here, then you will see 107, for instance. Because that was the final move that took you all the way down. Okay, see? So they just tested that. So let's see what happens when it comes down. Right? Then going back to the 4 hour. If price closes above here, right, then you can look for it to be support. But until then, you're always looking for the final leg down that took you to this low. It's very similar. Let me clean it up. So you go up, down, up, down, up, down, up. This was the final move that took you to the low. It's always a swing. It's always a up, down swing. Usually the swing here is what is the move that took you to the low. So if you get above that, that will take you all the way. That can take you to a new high above here. Right? Similarly what I was just drawing. Right? You get above here, expectation is at least a new high above here. But then you know the daily level here. But you have 4 hour. Oh yeah, you have a 4 hour level here. Does it make sense, Bruce? Okay, you get the test here, which it did. What are your current trends here? Up, down, up. Right? It has to bounce here. If you don't bounce, new low. It's like this. If you don't, yeah, I hope you got it. If you don't, it does the move, and if it doesn't do it here, expectation new low. What's in a good example? Let me see if I can find a good example somewhere. I can go anywhere, honestly. Just go anywhere. Okay. So price came up, right? And then down. It's sort of covering price. It actually made a new high. So that was not your high. And it came up. So price, what did price need to do? right? Let me clean this up and remove it. So price came down, up. What did price need to do? It needed to get above, because this is the move that took you up and down. It needed to get above here. It didn't do that. New low, right? Because you came up and down. What did it need to do? It needs to get above here. Didn't do that. New low. Okay. Price came up. You see, this is what happens when you look at the 4 hour. You can't see why it rejected. It doesn't get, okay, you made a new high, right? But you can't visibly see the move that why it took you down, because it's obviously testing something on the higher time frame that you're blindsided by, which is the daily. You see? You see, that's why I like that's why I think when you look at the smaller time frame, you miss the bigger moves. That was the daily. Here, I'm gonna mark the daily again. You see? That was your daily. But I was just using the 4 hour just to get a gauge of what was happening. Right? So you tested, you made a new low. Tested, made a new low, rejected off of that daily. Right? Rejected off that daily. You came down and made a new low. Right? This is the move that took you up. Couldn't get above it. If it didn't get above it, what is the expectation? New low below there. Came up, down, right? You made a new low. Then you're gonna have to look at the 1 hour to see what broke down there. How do I do? Oopsies. Where am I? Made a new low. Made a new low because this was the move that took you down there. Couldn't get above it, new low. But then it's probably testing something on the higher time frame again. I hope that makes sense, Bruce. I would have got blindsided if I wasn't looking on the daily for that level right there. Because it's only gonna work until it doesn't work, because it's hitting something on a higher time frame. Once you get that's all you need. I'm telling you, that's all you need. Because going back to Bitcoin, where price is currently right now, and I understand what you want to do. I understand what you want to do. I understand you want to get more trades in within the day. But just look how many lines. Look how many untested daily levels there are on Bitcoin. That's tested. Look how many untested levels there are. Just from marking the daily levels. These are your untested levels. And then look at the 1 hour. Like, let's say you're looking at the smaller time frame. No one would, and you don't even tell people you're looking at the daily time frame. No one would ever think these are daily levels. You can still play the moves here. Like, this could be a potential rejection here on Bitcoin for lower. I'll wait for till tomorrow morning, honestly. I think in the morning. Yeah. It's a lot of mental garbage, the smaller time frame. It's the biggest fraud and trading. Like XRP, for instance, you look at the monthly, and this is why I like the monthly so much. That $1.97 level gave you a perfect tick on the monthly on XRP. Everything comes from the monthly. If you're wanting to get the bigger moves, for instance, I can probably mark a lot of levels of why things bounced the way they bounced on Bitcoin. You would be honestly very surprised of how accurate the monthly is in regards to getting what you want to get from playing bigger moves and getting higher percentage, right? This is this there, right? And then what is this? Came with a rejection from here too. What did this do? This came from here. See? This is all just from the monthly. Right? Even recently. That monthly level as well. What did it do? There's actually two monthlies. Huh. You see? Then what did this do? You just had to wait for the monthly close for Bitcoin. Right? Here, gave you this. You could have got it right to the dot. And you knew this was tested, right? Even recently. What happened here? It closed above. What did it do? You see? Bounce perfectly. It's not always going to bounce perfectly, but like for this, in this case, what did it do? Closed above. But that's why you know, because you're looking at the weekly. Going back to it, they already tested it on the weekly. So that's why I didn't give a cleaner test. Yeah. Okay. I'm honestly exhausted. I hope that was good for you guys. I hope you got something out of it. Yeah. No. Thank you. Thank you. Like I like it because I get to do my TA and I get to bounce. When you ask questions, you can get. I get out of it a lot out of it too. Even here, I wouldn't. This is just so stupid being a investor here at Bitcoin at these prices. Yeah, I don't know why people think it's a good place to buy here. Yeah, wait for the monthly close, of course, but on the weekly, it's not looking too hot. That's all you have to watch for on the weekly. Those two levels. Yeah, your short is good. If I were you, look to add more short if you could. Your long alts, that's fine too. But I would look to add more short. You made a new low. Yeah, there we go. Oh, wow, you're short very high, dude. Dude, like you're short very high. Yeah, dude. If you get this is what I would do if you Lukey. Wait for the weekly close. Wait for the weekly close on Bitcoin. And then if you get the weekly close on Bitcoin below, let's say 104, that would be a nice place. add your short, bring down your position, because basically you're going to be pressing your profits for maybe even a bigger banger. You're already short 50x, but like if you really want to press it, you could press it, and maybe you could honestly catch a move to 97 and then even 86,000, and you would probably make a nice payday. I would press, if I were you, I would press it because your entry's so good. But then once you press it, you gotta move your stops pretty tight at that point because you don't want to get liquidated. But if you would like to really make some nice gains, that's what I would do. I would wait for the weekly close. Yeah, already risk free TP. Oh, wait, dude, if you already TP 2 times, bro, why not wait for the weekly close? And once you get that weekly close, if it closes below 104.5, press that shit. That's what I would do. You're like your case, not your case study, but your probability right now is, if the weekly closes, you made a new weekly low. Expectation, right? And then if it does reject here, you get the TP there. You move your stop loss to there. And then if you get stopped, you get stopped out, and then it's probably going to come back there. And then maybe you could try again. Yeah. Okay. All right, Bruce and Lukey, I'm glad you guys joined. I hope you guys come back next time I do this. Yeah, of course, of course. All right, you guys take care. Have a good night, okay? All right, bye.